Podcast, Season 3, Episode 1. It's been a hot minute. Yeah, we took a little hiatus, but we're back, bigger and better, coming with the latest things that are topics of discussion. Myself, Mr. Blake, Trife, Pleasure P, Millionaire Mike. Shout out the Doc, shout out RW. So let's get straight into it, ladies and gents. We've seen the backlash, we've seen the comments, we've seen the uproar. Shout out to Elaine the Pain. She said what she said with her chest. She
Yeah.
said it. She was the sacrificial lamb, if we want to put it like that. But the question, ladies and gents, is should black people boycott Asian businesses going forward? I think we've got a clip that we're gonna play just
For
refresh
context.
people's minds. Yeah, for
Yeah.
context. This is not the initial comment that initial video which was on Insta and TikTok. This is the follow on from when Elaine went on to Your Aunties Could Never podcast. So we're gonna roll that, and yeah, let's get into it. 5, 4, 3.
Said yes. Yes.
Okay.
Because how are black people supposed to mobilize if they're in our communities? It's not no Asian hating. It's about economics and why black people can't keep their black money within their community. So when you go to your corner shops and the food stock that they sell, right? They sell our food. They go to the corner shops. They have chicken shops lined up in our thing. It's all going back into their community. How is it coming back into ours? We have to boycott them. We don't want to, but we have to boycott them to keep it within our community. Otherwise, how are we going to progress? Right? I can't do it on my own. I need black people to help me. And I also said as well, I said, black people, you need to take time with black businesses as well.
Yeah. What you need to do is not even about boycott the Asian shop. It's like buy black. That's all your message is.
No.
Buy black.
The reason why I disagree with that, sorry to cut you.
No, go on.
The reason why I disagree with that is because when you say buy black, we still are about convenience. Until we get out of that mindset to strictly go and buy black, you have to give black people options. If I don't give them options, what they're going to do, they're going to fall back into the cycle. You have to get, and this is what I'm saying, like when I said boycott the Asian shops, it's because they're literally in every single community.
But as you said, give the alternatives. You can say the only reason I'm saying, because I think getting tied up into a culture war also isn't helpful for us. We just look like the aggressors or something.
No.
I'm not saying don't call it out. I think there's a conversation that needs to. I definitely think there's a conversation that needs to be had.
Again, she said what she said, and she said it with her chest. So, lads, what's your take on this? Because I got my take on it, but I'm intrigued to see what all of you lot have got to say on it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say to boycott Asian businesses because we still need them. They still need us. Obviously, the black pound's very strong. Like, obviously, we're one of the biggest spenders basically out there, basically. But I would say at the same time, yeah, maybe buy black first if like the quality's there, if that makes sense. So I think as a race, we need to get our shit together basically. To get supply chain networks, just kind of copy their model kind of thing, or not copy them, but obviously analyze what they're doing and try and be our own bosses, if that makes sense. So I would say obviously try and buy black first. If it's there, if the quality's there kind of thing. So like I've noticed certain things I've gone to buy quite expensive within the black like if I go to a black shop, it's more expensive than the kind of like Asian one. So obviously there's a kind of like recession credit crunch going on. So you get me, if we can, but as a community I think we need to get our kind of networks in place, things in place first, and then yeah, definitely there's an option, but I wouldn't say necessarily boycott, because at this time in, like if we were to do that right now, there's no structure in place basically for most things. That's just my opinion anyway.
I think you've touched on to something great that I want us to divulge into it deeper about black people getting their shit together. To say, P, what's your take on it?
I think, like for me, if I'm going general shopping or whatever, I don't really care what ethnicity the owner is. So therein point comes the point the lady made that basically convenience. So what is around you, what do you have easy access to? Where I would try to buy black would be probably more to support like people I know,
Yeah.
or like local black people within the community who have actually set up something that is for, you know, whether that's their own self growth or whatever. That's where I find more like you get the unique products and things like that, and you can buy black there. But I think if you're going for your general shopping in that, there's not many options, is there really? Like maybe in certain parts of London or Birmingham, whatever,
Yeah.
that might be the case. Like it depends on where you grew up, right? It depends
Yeah.
on where you live. Growing up in Muswell Hill, there wasn't there wasn't many black-owned shops. So unless I was going to Tottenham or something like that,
Yes.
it wasn't like I was getting close to it. So I think that point is a bit of a, it's circumstantial as well. It's not
Yeah.
as easy as saying go black, go Asian or whatever. And then there's another point which, you know, she says Asian. When you're saying Asian, are you saying the Indian Pakistani community, or are you talking about the Chinese community or other
Yeah. It's quite.
Asian
I think.
countries?
So
I think. Sorry. I think it was South Asian. She was
Asian,
more
yes, yeah,
with.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. That's again. I want to come back to that point as well.
Yeah.
Mike, what's your take on it?
Yeah, well, you know, I've been thinking about this, yeah, and I think it's a difficult topic. I'll tell you why it's difficult, because I think what Elaine is trying to convey is the fact that in mostly quote unquote Afro-Caribbean areas,
Mm-hmm.
you tend to have South Asian businesses, yeah, providing a service. So I think what she's talking about one culture encroaching into another culture,
Mm-hmm.
selling a predominantly, you know, or serving that particular culture's product and services. I'll give you an example. Hair shops, for instance, yeah.
Yeah, packs.
A lot of the hair shops from when my mom's used to go to Harsden to get her hair products, even to the shops, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the shop in
Blue
Harsden.
Mountain.
Blue Mountain, there you go.
Yeah.
Blue Mountain, yeah. My mom's used to travel all the way to Blue Mountain to basically get her, you know, African and Caribbean kind of spices and that. And she'll go to John Lyon to get the actual chicken and that. And the queues were mad.
Yeah.
I can't complain about John Lyon because I think John Lyon was some white guy. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? You know, so the queues there were massive. But even Blue Mountain, most of the patronizers were African and Caribbean people. You know what I'm saying? They provided a service within the community. Now, what Elaine is possibly looking at this and thinking, why can't it be a Nigerian brother doing it, or a Ghanaian brother doing it, or even more so a Caribbean brother doing it? But I want to flip it. Because you know Jamaica, yeah? Like, you're a yardie, and I'm an honorary yardie. The saying in Jamaica, yeah, is out of many, one people, right?
Yep.
Now, what if Mr. Pax was a yardman that grew up somewhere in, you know, South Lamar or St. Elizabeth?
Mm-hmm.
He looked South Asian, but man speak a hell of patois.
Yeah.
Do you think that the backlash will be the same? I don't think so, because culturally, he's more Caribbean. He's more inclined to the client base and the people that he's serving. So
Yeah.
I think what she's upset about people that she considers to be culturally South Asian,
Yeah.
that speak with a very strong South Asian accent, that probably only employ South Asian people
Yeah.
selling our products. And she's like, I want that. I'm coming to your shop when I want to pick up my things that are familiar to me culturally, which I know you don't use. Yeah, you shotting it to me, and not only are you shotting it in Northwest, you saw it in South, Birmingham. Everywhere I go, I see the said people sending my people the said thing. Why is it that we can't pattern up and do something about it? I think that's what she's annoyed about.
Yeah.
She's annoyed at the fact that these people are not culturally linked. What I mean by culture, I mean by, you know, Caribbean culture or African culture, is the fact that they are South Asian through and through, essentially encroaching into what she considers to be black space and selling things into black areas, when in actual, and taking that money out of the community.
Yeah.
And what she's basically saying is like, you're not employing people from the ends, you only employ your own people. You know what I'm saying? And I think I have a solution I'll discuss later.
Yeah, please.
I think that's what she's annoyed about.
Okay.
I can kind of understand.
Yeah.
I get it, but at the same time, I think, you know, it's a much more nuanced problem.
Yeah.
You know what, Mike? You touched upon something about, you know, someone doesn't look aesthetically West Indian, and they're selling products in the West Indian environment. We have that in Jamaica all the time. We have Mr. Chin with the Chinaman, and no one bats an eyelid.
Yeah, but
One,
Mr. Chin speaks Batwa though.
yeah. That's what I'm saying, and it's not a problem. So I don't think it's problematic in that way. I think it's more a case of how you've explained it. It's a bit like when we think of Drake, we see Drake as a bit of a culture vulture, just taking it for his own game. When I saw the first video, the first one, not this one, the one that was on TikTok and Insta, my brethren, who's South Asian, messaged me and he asked me what I thought, and I'm going to read what I said. I said, look, I feel Elaine could have articulated certain points in a more balanced way, if I'm honest, and I feel, Mike, you were touching upon this as well. Her delivery was always going to derive more divisions between the Black and South Asian communities in this country.
Yeah.
That said, some of the backlash she has received has been awful and reinforced some of her points, unfortunately. Now, when she said them comments, I'm not gonna lie, this topic is a Percy for me, and I'll tell you why it's a personal one for me. So going up in Northwest, I've got a bag of brethrens that are South Asian, whether they're Tamil, Sri Lankan, Gujarati, Indian, from Pakistan. Yeah. So I'm from the era where man would go into yards and hear man say Saru Chair and Gemchu Maja man. Man used to watch Hindi movies like Mohabbatin, Ishq, and go to them. Do you remember that club that used to be in Park Royal called Zenith?
Yeah.
Zenith used to have them Indian raves called the Mellers, and like man would go there. I'd be the only black brother there, but I still got love and I still enjoyed it. But I say that to say that, I can't see myself boycotting it. I can't because again, I grew up in the culture, I grew up watching Kabaddi on a Sunday on Channel 4, you know what I mean? And then watching Songs of Praise with my granny. Do you see what I'm saying? But what was quite interesting is some of the points she made about South Asians being the buffer class, kind of forgetting, that when National Front were coming to kick off heads, there was a form of protection and there was more of a unity between blacks and South Asians. And I guess what I'd want to know from the three of you as well, do you think that's dispersed as maybe one community has got more affluent and the other one is still say the same? Have those kind of foundations that bonded us together, have they gone?
It's a hard one. I think our generation, so kind of like the kids that were born in the 80s, I think there's more of a, it's actually hard to say. I say there's a more of a togetherness with us guys growing up, because obviously, as you said, like Northwest, we all kind of grew up. It was all Asians and blacks, we all like as one basically. But I'm not sure about the new generation, if it's more, they're kind of more going into silos. Like, is it more kind of blacks and kind of like like blacks are doing their things, Asian are doing their own thing, and whites. But I would say for our generation, definitely, I think there's still a togetherness, because I still got a lot of bag of Asian brethren that
Same.
So, but I think maybe with the new generation, maybe that's not as tight as we were.
But
Mike,
I'd like to say that what we've experienced is the Northwest ecosystem, because if you go to other ends, not a lot of, like, I know most of them, the Mandem I know from East, very rarely of them they've got Asian Mandem as like Mandem. They'll go to war with them and etc.
Yeah, but there's Northwest and kind of like Birmingham are kind of similar.
But other ends, it's like I find there's a lot of segregation.
It's not like
between people. Do you know what I'm saying? So Northwest is a very unique place. Do you know what I'm saying? Because like you said, we got brethren from literally every part of the world, and because we grew up in the same ends, really, and we're also quite close to central London, which is basically the capital of the world when it comes to multiculturalism. That spills into West London and Northwest London, but other parts of London, like South and East, and not even North, I really never really saw that.
I was going to say,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm so Pascal will be answering that question very, very, very soon after I finish my point. And I'll be honest. I think, to me, it's a very interesting discussion to have, because when you think of England and when you think of interracial relationships, I think even though it sounds mad, you've got black people, Asian people have received a lot of backlash from white people, from immigration and whatever you call it, right? But you'll find that black people have mixed with white people quite well. You know, from my experience and from what I've seen, there's always been a lot of interracial relationships between blacks and whites, whether romantic or even in terms of workplace relations, etc. Yeah. Now, when it comes to the Asian community, I have not seen to the same degree, even though these are two cultures that are essentially immigrant communities, I've not seen many mixes in terms of like long-lasting relationships where the two cultures crisscross on a regular basis, where you see a black guy with an Asian guy on a regular basis, this and that, or even marriages where the two cultures are merging. Because I think if that happened on a regular basis, where it almost becomes, you know, accustomed for a black man to be marrying an Asian girl or an Asian girl be marrying a black man, and that conversation that we have now, we probably wouldn't really have it because the two cultures are pretty much aligned. But the fact that we've got all in common with the European white English person, and if you look at the statistics in terms of mixed marriages and stuff like that, tells me that we're not as united as we think we are. And I think only a subsection of South Asian communities are more comfortable with some black people. I'll give you an example, like, you know, we've got a common brethren, S, I won't say his name, but S is South Asian, but S is Christian like me and T. So for us, to like, it was very easy for us to form a friendship quickly because we've got the same faith-based structure. So even though we're different, already we've got a similar faith-based structure. If you're Muslim, you're gonna have Muslim Asian brethren. Do you know what I'm saying? And you're gonna have that relationship with them. And sometimes it could be based on the fact that you share the same faith as a building block, and then eventually friendship blossoms, etc. But for the most part, bro, very few of us were Hindus, or do you know what I'm saying, or Buddhists or Sikhs and this and that and the other. So creating friendships comes on a different layer. It might just be based on personality or the fact that you two might like something. For us in Northwest, it was hip hop, drum and bass. Do you know what I'm saying? And eventually we started brethren. But it's not easy to merge the two cultures because they're so distinct from what most black people essentially adhere to religiously, from a religious point of view.
So let me bring Pascal and Pleasure P into this. Like, growing up in North London, were you seeing South Asian man and black man rolling together, like how it was in certain parts of Northwest?
I would say in parts of Tottenham, yes, there was mixing. In Muswell Hill, where I grew up, no, because there wasn't many black families.
It's quite Jewish, isn't
around. Well, it was mainly white people. I obviously grew up in the flats, so again, it was mainly white. There wasn't even many Asian families there either, so didn't really see so much there. But yeah, when you get to Tottenham, there was more of a mix. But it's coming to Mike's point. Like, I went to a Catholic school, so we had like Asian Catholics, like from Goa and other parts of Asia. So yeah, they were mixed with us. But if you think back to one of the episodes we were talking about, when we're talking about, you know, our parents and that generational piece of wanting to carry on tradition and stuff like that, I think that's why you don't see it so widespread in our generation, maybe once you go to like other parts of the country, etc., in terms of mixing. But if you look at the younger generation, like I look at my kids, they don't see color. They don't see anything like that. I don't know if that's because of maybe I've, you know, as parents, I don't really we think our culture into them, but we don't. So that younger generation, there's two things for me. One, I don't think that if we take a bit older than my eldest at 10, if you take like maybe someone that's up to 20 years old, they're more entrepreneurial. They're more about trying to make for themselves. And I think what you'll probably see over the coming years, you'll probably start to see more black owned businesses or Asian owned businesses, but probably more around innovation or art and stuff like that. Because the other part is, and again, I think we touched on it in one of the episodes, what community wants to do some of the hours that the Asian community do, or the jobs that the Asian community do? So now, as we come into a world where you can set up a business a lot easier than our parents or even our generation could, you'll see that trend become different. But it's the hours. When Elaine talks about the chicken shop as an example, I don't know many black people that will want to work until 3 a.m. serving up chicken wings. That's the truth. But that's the truth.
No, I hear that. And it's funny because Mike, I just want to go back to something that Mike and P, you both touched on, that anti-blackness sentiment that seems to linger when it comes to the South Asian community. I feel like when Elaine made her comments, she got some nasty,
Racist.
yeah,
Racist
and unfortunately, it seems like this anti-black sentiment is not going to go anywhere. And when things like that happens, there is a tad of there's a bit of the spotlight that comes onto us, because it then comes across, well, why are we not protecting black women in a situation like that? Is that fair to say, lads?
Yeah, I mean, look, remember also, Mr. Blake, she's attacking the bag. So when you've got people that are making a bag off your community and you shedding the spotlight on them and you're attacking them,
Yeah, they're going to go through blood.
just like some people like to attack, say Jewish people and stuff like that. She's putting a big torchlight on the South Asian community, and their bag is to sell to your community. And now you're saying boycott my business. So what, you don't want to get P? Of course they're gonna be vilifying her.
Yeah, but do they need to be calling her and the N word? Do they need
I
to be
agree.
calling?
I don't think they need. I don't think he warranted that kind of response, because she wasn't being. Was she being racist? I think she was being racist in the sense that she was highlighting a group of people, saying don't buy from them. Now, to me, as much as she might say, a boycott is just to try and to elevate the black community, I think it's actually a choice based on race. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so hold on. Let me jump in there, Mike. Let me jump in there, Mike.
Go and buy exclusively black because we need to support black people. She's saying boycott South Asian owned or Asian owned business, and to me, bro, that's an act of racism. Because racism is when you are discriminating on the fact that you're looking at that person, and because they have a different race to you, you don't want to essentially conduct business with them, and whilst I'm not excusing the Asian people, the other people that use racial slurs, I don't think she deserved it. She also needs to be responsible and understand that, look, I did say something racist. Like, I don't care how she may not feel like she is racist, but that statement, boycotting South Asian business, to me, even as a black man, that screams a bit of racism right there, bro.
Okay, but then, all right, then let's be devil's advocate here. Say the shoe was on the other foot, and it was an Asian woman that said something like that about the black community, and she got called the P word. The fundamental difference that I would see there is that Asian brothers would back her and be like, you can't talk to her like that.
Yeah.
I don't think Elaine got that privilege from many of us.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, look, as our dogs would say, our dog is not here to actually say what I'm about to say, but I guarantee you, he would say the reason why Mandem don't really rush out like that is because maybe the sisters don't feel like they need our help. Because remember, we've been living under an independent feminist black movement for the best part of a decade now. The sisters have got those anthems, all the women independent, throw your hands up at me. They're basically saying that they don't need the man then. So when, as you said earlier, she stood on business, she said it with her chest, sometimes she has to deal with the backlash with it, because we never said that, she said that.
Yeah, but brother, let me ask you something there, Mike. If that was one of your daughters, and one of your daughters, and I say this respectfully, had the stance of Elaine, said what she said like that, and they were calling your princesses every dirty janko word under the sun because she's an outspoken black woman, are you not going to back your daughter?
No, of course I would back her, 100%.
Right.
And at the same time, look, I'm not agreeing with the racial slurs that Elaine essentially suffered from. It's reprehensible, and anybody that, and also it shows the lack of intellect or even empathy that they have of what Elaine was trying to say. Like I understand Elaine. I know that perhaps she probably didn't articulate it as well as she could have, but it was going to be offensive anyway.
Yeah.
Doesn't deserve to be racially abused. Despite the fact that she made, as well as she could, she tried to articulate her concerns about the black community. Why the black community she feels isn't prospering is because we have cultures encroaching into our space and enriching themselves from the black experience effectively. And that's all she was trying to say. And she was basically saying, look, enough of it. We need to stop patronizing those businesses and we need to build our own. I understand all this stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also condemn the people that racially abuse her. I would never entertain that.
Okay.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
there was no need for that. Obviously,
Yeah.
it was about okay. She said whatever she said about
Mm-hmm.
South Asian, but she didn't say or stop boycotting P businesses and things like that. So they should have kept their grievances to what it was. Like, how dare you say boycott our businesses, but didn't have to go to the racial bit.
100%.
Yeah. So
Hold that thought, Trife. P, because I could see when Mike was talking, I could see the face. So come, let me bring you in. Will you talk to us? What you
I
thinking?
think there's two bits, because when you ask Mike the question about his daughters, I think that's always going to be like, you're going to look out for your own. Like that's the thing. It then flips it back to when Elaine made those comments. She sort of, in that instance, and I was just trying to work out because I haven't seen the original thing. I was trying to work out, was she asked the question and then she led into that, because that's how it reads on, obviously, on the video. But irrespective of that, she took a stance that the approach was, I'm almost representing the community, because she uses words like, black economics and this and this. So by default, she's chosen to do that. And she comes out quite aggressively in tone, right? Let's call it as it is. And then she, like Mike says, she singled out South Asians, yeah. So I'm not condoning racism or anything like that. But all of us know, it doesn't matter what creed you come from. If you're going to go and make comments, you can make comments, but there's a way to do it, which is what we've all said, right? We've all said that it could have been handled better. You leave yourself open. And then in terms of us or people backing her, maybe she doesn't represent everyone in her thought process. So when you talk about, like, is she being backed? Like, I'll be honest, I saw it. I didn't bat an eyelid, is the honest truth, because of my own views, etc. I don't know, like the rest of you guys, what you thought, but the reality is, when you choose to speak for a community, if you don't actually speak for the community, the defense is going to be quite small. Like, we all defended Bukayo Saka. I know it's a completely different thing, right? But that was a different thing. But there was a thing there to defend, etc., etc. In this instance, she's chosen to answer the question the way she has, and I think, for me, she doesn't represent me.
100%, Pete. Like, I'll give you an example. My local chicken shop, the guys that run it, they're Indian Christians, They go to church. They go to the local church, So I'll always go to them because I have an affinity. So it's not based on the fact that we are racially different. When they see me, they call me bro, they show me love, they give me fried chicken, because they can see, this is my Christian brother. And when you're a brother in Christ, you don't see the color no more. It's about brother. It's about real brother. Do you know what I'm saying? They invited me to their wedding for crying out loud.
Because you buy chicken from them.
I buy a lot of chicken, boy.
You know what I'm saying? But we
That's a watermelon as well, yeah?
Cool. So when Elaine is telling me to boycott them, I'm like, I'm not going to boycott them, man, because them man are my brethren. Like, as far as I'm concerned, we're brothers in Christ. Do you know what I'm saying? And even, I wouldn't even go as far as saying, even those who are non-Christian, so long as they treat me with respect and there's a genuine exchange of customer service, clientele, whatever, why would I stop going there? Simply because, my pound is not going to a black business, or is not going, circulating within the black community. Where I live, there isn't a big black community anyway. So as far as I'm concerned, and P's right, that comment really doesn't really affect me, because I don't live in the ends anymore, where there's a whole heap of black people that need to benefit from this collective economic structure that this utopian black world that she's aspiring to. And I've got a black family in a little suburban place out of town. Do you know what I'm saying? I got to be community with whoever wants to be community with me at the end of the day.
P, I see you nodding. Come in.
It's circumstantial how you interact with people, etc. Kindness begets kindness, right? Like, I was thinking when Mike was talking, when you talked about chicken shop, that time we went to North London, do you remember?
Yeah.
We went to one chicken shop, it was like a Polish brother or something. Do you remember the first one we went into? We went into the second one, it was like an Afghan dude,
Yeah.
But both of them, me and Mike didn't know these people. They both treated us with respect. One guy was talking to me about the intricacy of the, do you remember? He was actually like breaking it down. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'll go back to him again. I don't care that he's from Poland and selling chicken. When I reflect back, I'm like, why is a Polish person selling chicken wings. I've never seen that before. That was the first
Exactly.
time. But
Yeah, but you know what? You say that, bro. But where I live outside of London.
Yeah.
All of the Polish shops are run by a South Asian man. So
What?
one could say, yeah, one could say, well, what business do they have in that? My thing is, you saw a niche, you jumped on
yeah,
it,
exactly.
money off your neck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But then,
definitely.
but then this comes to the piece, right? Where is so if we're saying the South Asian community are putting money in, they're sending money back home, whatever, because I think that's what we're talking about, right? The money goes
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
home, the tax doesn't come here. Where's the black money going then? Because there is black money. Because I looked up into this like before we got on the show,
Yeah.
just to sort of see, and like the actual percentage difference between black and Asian community in terms of business ownership is literally like 1%.
Serious? Okay.
Yeah, I think it was. Let me just get it.
It's weird because there's always this perception that Asians are killing blacks. And when I say killing in the sense of, I'm not saying
But
killing in the sense of percentage. I'm
So
saying
in
exceeding. Let me not use slang word. There's always this perception that Asians are better at business than black people are, and it's not true. It's definitely not true. Because when we go back to our respective countries, like I know you said, that in Jamaica you got Mr. Chin. I also see a whole heap of Errol and Margarets and stuff selling their own stuff. So there is business acumen in every community. Otherwise, we wouldn't advance as community groups. So I'm not saying that all cultures are equal, but some cultures essentially adapt to the needs and wants of the market. It's just the market. So in a free market economy, Elaine, if she understands economics, it's about competition. If somebody's able to provide services or product at a competitive price, it don't really matter whether they're black, white, Chinese. You people are going to go where they feel better treated and where their pound could stretch the most. If the Asians, South Asians, have found a method of developing a business structure that enables us, the consumer, to benefit from cheaper price and accessibility, then we're all going to go there because we dictated, as P said, circumstantial, but we dictated by the laws of the free market economies, not necessarily by race.
That's
You know what I'm saying? So it's
that's
difficult.
what it comes down to, I think. Comes down to price, customer service, all them good things there. So obviously, as you said, you're a chicken shop owner and you've got like a relationship, and so you're going to go back there, aren't you? Because you feel
100%.
the price is obviously good, right? You wouldn't be going there anyway, but the price wasn't good. Right? So,
Listen, the days of getting free wings for £1 is gone, long gone, long gone.
It's yeah, man.
so I think if
wait,
black
just
people kind of excelled in those areas a bit better, then yeah, if the shops were there, we would definitely go to them. 100%.
there was two pieces to this point, yeah. So one is the percentage of owners. So Asians make up 3.4%. This was looking at SME businesses in the UK. So this is not talking large scale and that.
Yeah.
So Asian businesses 3.4, black 2.1. But where the innovation bit you're talking about, we're saying that 30% goes across the ethnic communities. It doesn't actually break it down into black or Asian. So it just says straight figure of 30%. But the bit that does show a big difference is the access to funding and finance.
Okay, I'm glad you
So
touched upon that.
This is
I'm glad you
this
touched
is
upon
where
that.
it kind of goes a bit disparity. So Asian-led businesses 8%. So out of 100%, 8%. Black businesses, but this is based on 2022. 2024, 0.2%.
That's the
Right.
thing.
Okay. And she did touch on that. Elaine did touch on that on the aspect of finance.
Yeah.
And so what she's alluding is that there's a credit scoring based on racial
Yes.
Profiling, 100%.
Yes.
racial profiling, effectively.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess it could be. I mean, it's true. I know in America it's
No.
very true. Certain areas that you live in.
Yeah.
We've seen it in this country. I know a lot of my brethren's parents that might have had like shops and stuff like that. They were denied access to cash and carries. Yeah, they had to go through the South Asian brethrens that already had the connections in place to get the product at the said price. But obviously you have to pay a little something to get that.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be access issues to the resources, I think, in this thing. You know what, it just made me think when she got the backlash. Obviously there was a lot of racist vitriolic views said towards her as but one of the things that I did hear a lot, and I'm intrigued to hear you guys view on it. Are black people jealous of the come up that South Asians have had in the UK?
We've got to touch on that
Yeah, we have to. We have to. That's why.
Yeah,
That's why I brought it up, man.
look. At the end of the day, like, and I'm glad you brought this up. And please feel free to cut me off, guys. 'Cause I
Yeah.
don't want to hog the post, but you know, there are instances here where black people celebrate themselves and say, look, they want to be black. So if you see a white girl with a big batty, look, she's trying to be a black girl. Or if she's trying to braid her hair and this and that, because we celebrate ourselves. We celebrate what we consider to be great about ourselves, right?
Yeah.
But we don't really admit sometimes where we are essentially lacking or areas of our culture that we should elevate ourselves a bit more. Do you know what I'm saying? And I honestly believe that there is a bit of envy. There is a bit
I
of,
think so.
of I wouldn't say jealousy is a strong word, but there's more of there's an envy. And I think the envy is this, is that they would like to also to be considered, people with, rhythm, swag, innovation, but also of good business acumen. And I think you'll find that Asians in this country, and even amongst popular opinion, are always considered in terms of the two. And I think we did do a show on that, didn't we, Pleasure P, on who integrated better, blacks or Asians.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, like, elevating themselves from what Elaine says, the buffer class, into much more middle class and even position of influence. You look at the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, you look at the Home Secretary, you know what I mean? If you look at, even more recently, Rishi Sunak, they've been elevating themselves from, like, okay, we used to be shopkeepers, now we're running to at the head of government and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's some degree, some of the black people are thinking, oh, come on, man. Can't believe.
But isn't there a bit of sense of admiration then in that? Because
I think there is a sense of admiration, but a little bit of envy, because you remember, as we touched on who integrated better, we were saying, like, kind of everyone used to laugh at the Asians back in the day with like about them working in corner shops and like
That is true.
micros and stuff like that. And then they've just like elevated themselves and kind of got themselves into position. So I think for me, I'm not an envious person. For me, I would look at someone and I'm just like, yeah, that's really good. What can I do to kind of elevate myself to get to that next level? But not everyone's kind of like on that kind of thought process. So I think there's a bit of both admiration and a bit of enviness, definitely, because as you said before previously, that they were like working in corner shops and blah, 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 blah. And now they're kind of stepped up and kind of thing. So yeah, totally agree with that.
so when we first started this episode, Trife, you made a great point about black people not getting their shit together, and I think you were onto something. I feel obviously boycotting other communities' business. For me, I'm not doing it, and I'm gonna tell you why I'm not doing it. Yeah, I'm a proud black man. Yeah, and that will always be the case. Yeah, but one of the things that I would say about us as black people as a community, we've got other problems that we need to deal with.
Yeah.
Right now, we live in a country where people that look like us, they're gonna soon want to turf us out. I think that's something that we got to look upon. But I think fundamentally as well, before we can talk about our boycotting this community's business and such,
We need to do the basics.
yeah, we need to do the basics, need to get the foundations. But the key thing for me here is we are not spiritually connected, and I say this all the time. And until the black people and black community are spiritually connected, we will continue to have the issues that we have. We'll continue to have these kind of discussions because we don't want to get our things in order. We are distrustful of each other. That's why I thought it was quite interesting that, for all the talk that Dr. Umar has about making the school, we're still waiting, Dr. Umar. We're still waiting, yeah. He done said on one podcast that I saw that, he wanted something done. He went to a black brother. The black brother was taking time. He ended up going to a white guy. The white guy done it at a better price. So that shows to me already that, that there's a lack of trust between us. We all know that all skin folk are not kinfolk, unfortunately. There's also the whole thing of our self-esteem. Why is it then when we're on road, we might see someone that look upon us and before it's a case of the nod and, yo, that's my brother, there's the thing of, yo, yeah. And I feel until we can overcome those things, as I said, we're just going to keep going round and round and round and round and round in circles. P, I see you when I come true.
You talked about the self-esteem piece, right? I think there's two other sides to it. One is self-value, because I think sometimes within the community we place our value on what the community is doing. And sometimes as an individual, you have to back yourself
What do you
and
mean by
value
that?
yourself.
Yeah.
Well, like we talk about being black, and we talk about like Mike. Kieran has just touched on like what we see, what we sort of perceive, etc. That value piece. But you have to value yourself first. You have to be
Yes.
confident in what
Yeah.
you as a person bring to the table, irrespective of black, white, whatever. That's what I teach the boys. You understand your self value. You understand what your proposition is, what you bring to the table. It's only then you can start to make a difference. But if you try and like model yourself on something that is not even within the majority of people's reach,
Yeah.
in the first instance, from the offset, you ain't gonna get there. Like I very early on said to myself, I'm not gonna follow what these people do.
Yeah.
Like where I'm coming from right now, that's not where I am. Maybe
Yeah.
one day I'll have the Mercedes, whatever,
Yeah.
maybe one day
100%.
that would happen. But I don't need to come off the bat with that.
You need to stay
And
in your.
so
You need to
that's
stay in
where
your
the
lane.
Asian community,
Yeah.
that's where the Asian community is different because
Yeah.
they don't look at
Yes.
it and
Yes.
say
I agree.
they'll
I
start with
want
a
that.
Nissan Micra
Yeah.
and they'll be
Yeah. No,
happy with that.
exactly
I've
that.
seen, bro, I saw one brother take 172 pictures of a Nissan Micra. 172 pictures. He was so proud of it, yeah? But we don't know what that man did to get that. We
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
what
Yeah. Yeah.
he had
Yeah.
to do to get it. And
Pete,
he was proud of that. And now he's got his own business. He's doing whatever. And so, but that's because he valued himself. I remember him saying to me, I worked with this guy, yeah? I remember this was in my supermarket days. I remember him saying to me, he's like, Pete, I won't be here forever. And he said, in 10 years' time, you'll look back and you'll see what I've worked for. And I can see what he's worked for, yeah? Whereas we as a community, not all of us are prepared to do that.
Do you
Us on
think?
this call is a bit
Yeah.
different, I think.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not the
Yeah. Yeah.
norm.
Yeah.
Not the norm.
Do you think we, as black people, we chase? How can I
Status.
put it? Chase.
What status?
glamour.
Glamour. That's it. Glamour,
Yeah.
Yeah.
status.
Yeah,
Fame.
I think we do
think
to an
that's a
extent,
big
but I think the issue that we've got here in this country, we've assimilated so much into British ways of doing things and ideals. We've lost our true identity.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that there is the fundamental issue, and it goes back to what P was saying. We have no real sense of who we are and what we're about, to the point where one might say that Elaine was doing reforms work by trying to create divisions between different communities. Controversial take, but
Yeah.
when these things are happening, don't think those in the higher echelons are looking down and thinking, look at these bloody such and such of them. They're a mess, innit? They just want to war each other. And I always think of that picture that I see with the big cats are sitting on top of the table. All it takes is for the people them to lift up, and all these systems will break down. And again, that comes from what P was saying, knowing oneself. And I remember Dizzy Rascal saying, I'm more British than black. And I get it now. I get what he was trying to say. We've assimilated into a culture that we thought was going to elevate us, but if anything, it's done us more harm and more to our detriment.
Yo, Mr. Blake, something else I want that Pete touched, and I don't think he realised he touched on it, but I think he still wants I highlight it. What a lot of our Asian brothers and sisters have kind of also held on to is their culture, their sense of spirituality. When you go to their shops, they have the little signs and everything.
Yes.
But also family ties, bro. Like they don't mind staying in the family family home for as long as possible 100%. To reach that next step. Now you see our families and our family structures, whether we are Caribbean or Africans, as soon as you're old enough to make money, your parents take from you. They don't really help you save or create an opportunity for you to make a way. They see you as a cash cow opportunity. So even when you're just about to make your first P, soon your mom say, "Hey, Mike, the rent is due. Give me." What?
When was
I
that?
just
Say,
that was my first paycheck, but your mom will take from you, and then you would think, "Oh, maybe that
teaching
money
me
is
something
used to developing me." Like Mike, we need to start up a business. We need to do this. They're literally taking your P and spending it into other liabilities rather than building assets with that stuff. Whereas some of our Asian counterparts, I remember very clearly, they stay at home to age 30 odd. But before they left, bro, they had a big yard or they had multiple houses that they were already in charge of. And I think that's and really and truly, we started at the same. You know, even if you look at the history of colonization in some countries like Malaysia, Singapore, Ghana, Nigeria, we all got the so-called independence around the same time. But those countries have superseded some of these West African countries because they basically banded together and they decided to elevate themselves as a whole, as a nation. It wasn't any of that individualistic me sort of, let's imitate, the white man kind of system. It was like, okay, let's go back to our roots, let's go back to who we are as a people. And then we all move in one voice, one direction. You know what I'm saying? We don't really do that, bro.
No, we
So
don't at all.
as soon as as soon as we get of a certain age, our parents used to take money from us.
Yes. Yeah.
Or say, so you got to move out one of them.
Yeah. Do me a
I'm not
favor.
going to do that.
Get out of here.
Because I see how detrimental it was to my development and also to the development of my parents. Because you think about this, if you not concentrated into giving me an opportunity to start a business as a family, like a family business, we would all be eating. And that's what Asians do. They do a family business. Even the language they speak, I've got brethren from the Caribbean, the children are second, third generation. They don't even speak patois no more. It's just English with one or two patois words in.
Yeah, because
You know what I'm saying?
we've diluted, we've
Yeah.
integrated, we've assimilated into this British ideal, these British values. I don't think it's for all of us. It's not for all of us.
100%. But
It's
our Asian
to be to our
counterparts
detriment.
still speak Urdu, they still speak Gujarati, they
Yes.
still speak the language, Bengali or whatever it is that they speak, and that gives them a sense of connection. Do you know what I'm saying? Yes, they're born and bred in this country, but there's a sense of connection, there's a sense of duty even amongst themselves to say, look, we need to pattern up. And I think the more you detach yourself from your roots, you become at the mercy of any and everything. And that's why we as blackheads, we want to assimilate so much to the point that we forget who we are.
Oh, yes,
And
100%.
you're right, Blakey. It's all down to spirituality. Whatever it is that makes you black and proud, hold on to that so that you can. And if we all held on to it, then trust me, we'll be moving in one direction. But we're not, man. We're all completely fragmented, bro.
Yeah, no,
100%. 100%. I'm just mindful of time, so I'm gonna wrap this up like a samosa. Excuse the pun. So I just wanna go around and have a little final thoughts. P, are you boycotting South Asian businesses?
No, they're the only person that sell me wigs up here, bro. I live in I'm not boycotting any South Asians. No, but to come back to it, at the end of the day, right, if someone is providing a service that I need or I use whatever, then I'm just gonna go to it. I don't really care, if I'm honest, like what that person is. Like I said, me and Mike, we had Polish and Afghani chicken wings, bro. We didn't care. And I think the more that we do that and we normalize, there's another thing here. If I'm completely honest, I don't really think. That's why I made the point about I don't think she speaks for the community. For me, it's one person. There's a couple of people that might back it, but overall, the world is bigger than one part of London or wherever she's referencing. Once you come outside of London, it's a completely different ballgame. We're all outside of London, right? So you don't have many options. So I can't resonate with that. If I was back in London or when I go back to London, I'm not gonna lie, I go to where I'm comfortable going.
Yeah.
That's why I took Mike to that chicken shop, and I don't know what happened
It
because it was a complete. But that's my point. I just went where I knew, right? I don't care. I don't care who owns it or whatever. So I wouldn't boycott anyone. I think it's a very dangerous game to play because if we're saying we want the black community to raise up and whatever, having messages like that people that don't represent all the black community are saying to boycott can turn against us in turn. There's just as many of them as there is of us. So if you're going to start that kind of thing, it's dangerous, it's harmful, it doesn't help anyone economics. When you look at the fact that the percentages are so low, we're 2.1, they're 3.4. It's not about that. If anything, we need to be learning from each other, gaining together, because one of the things we didn't touch on was when you go inside exec boards and stuff like that, it's only 19% diversity in the UK in terms of like senior executives and stuff like that in that corporate world. So I think the message is dangerous. I think it's a bit reckless as well. So that's me. I wouldn't boycott anyone. And the piece is, you have your own confidence. I'm trying to start my own thing here. I haven't had any black people reach out to me yet, is the honest truth, right? I haven't had any. But I've had a couple of inquiries from XYZ. So we have to think about what we're saying. If we want to grow business, we want to do XYZ, you're opening your doors to anyone to make that income, right? And that's what people are doing. That's what the South Asians have done. They've done the hours that people, not just the black community, they're doing hours that people are not prepared to do. They're doing the work that people are not prepared to do. And if they're capitalizing from it or whatever, then so be it.
Thank you, P. But
That was
unfortunately,
right.
they're still going to be told, get out my country. But anyway,
Yeah,
that's a topic for
I'll
another
take the
day.
ticket home. I'll take the ticket home. It's not the South Asians telling me to go home, though, right? It's not them.
Yes,
So,
yes.
I'll
Thank
take
you,
the
P.
ticket.
Thank you. Mike, final thoughts. Are you
Yeah,
boycotting South Asian businesses?
absolutely not. I will never do that, because at the end of the day, I'm first and foremost, I am black by virtue of experience. Black is an experience. It's not something that I'm, defined by solely. Do you know what I'm saying? That's number one. Number two, bro, we live in a free market economy where we are dictated by the laws of the market, product, services, price, placement. If it's close enough, if it's cheap enough, and it's accessible enough, I will purchase it. I'm not going to boycott any business because it makes no sense. Then what? Am I going to boycott white businesses because reform is led by some potentially racially biased person? It doesn't work like that, bro. At the end of the day, what we need to do, I think what the model that the South Asian businesses have given much of us, blacks and others included, is the fact that they're a beacon actually of what it is to become an immigrant culture that can be successful in the UK. If you're prepared to put in the hours, if you're prepared to put in the effort, and if you're prepared to work together, there's a lot that we can learn from them. Absolutely, I resonate with that. And Blake, you said this the same thing. From my point of view, I think what we need to do is we need to grab the opportunities that this country has with both hands. We live in the UK. Yes, you're going to find there's going to be some adversity of some sort. It's not going to be easy, but it's easier to do it here than it is to do it in other countries. If you want to see black businesses and black logistic channels of distribution and transport, there's plenty of black countries doing it. But we don't live in those countries. We live in the UK. So instead of moaning about it, be the change that you want to see. So if you want to have a shop where you want to see black hair products, do it yourself. You don't even have to do it in a shop anymore. You can sell things online. There's so many ways now to be able to have a business where you don't necessarily have to be planted in a store. Some will argue it's actually backwards now to do things from a store. Have a virtual store where you can sell globally, not just to people in the UK, but to people in other parts of the world. So I think it's a bit of a redundant statement, to be honest with you. Black community as well is a myth. There is no black community. There's pockets of black people that are community amongst each other. But as you rightfully said, Blakey, we don't all come up one day, in a hole somewhere and greet each other and shake each other's hands. We don't behave like that anymore. That concept has disappeared. And more importantly, the black culture as a whole is on the threat. Look at the stats, bro. We were looking at the stats prior to this pod. Caribbean community used to be the dominant black influence in this country. They're disappearing. There's less than 1 million. Now it's mostly West Africans, Nigerians are now, the more dominant black population in the UK, which is startling, because 30, 40 years ago, wherever I would go in any parts of London or in the urban areas, it was a predominant Caribbean influence. That's eroding because the Caribbean people are now marrying into whites, marrying into other cultures, diluting themselves to now they're less than 1 million as far as the global black population is concerned, and that's those who consider themselves black. So for us to think that we're all going to band together and purchase from each other, it's a complete myth, bro. It doesn't make any sense. What I want to see more of is black-owned businesses that can work with people of all walks of life. Now that would be much better. To do where we can provide services to everybody. But a guy, the HNIC is a black kid. Really? Yeah. This guy called Terry. Really? Black you? Yeah. But he's cool. He works with everyone. He employs everybody. Not because they're black, because they're good.
Good. Yeah. No. Exactly that.
That's it. And that's my final statement.
Thank you, Mike. And you make a great point, and it'll be interesting to see, like, with regards to what's happening in Jamaica, will we get an influx of refugees from Jamaica? And if we are, if we do, are they going to be treated the same as their No, I'm serious. I'm serious. Because I think if it was to happen, Reform would be losing their mind. But again, convo for another day.
But look,
Yeah, yeah.
Jamaicans are hardworking people, you know.
All
So
right,
they,
all
they,
right.
you know, when it comes to work and ethic, they've got that.
Yeah.
And I think, and our grandparents did a very good job of that. It's we, the grand pitney, them that are not as
No, yeah, no,
dedicated as the
100%.
grandfathers. Like straight up,
Nah,
I'm telling you,
I
man.
hear that. I
Straight
hear
up.
that, Matt. Thank you, Matt. Trife, final thoughts. Are you boycotting South Asian businesses?
No, definitely not. Again, as I said before, I would like to buy black first, but we as a community have to do better. Starting from the basics, customer service, like going into a shop certain times, and like, do you want to serve me? Like,
When I have it.
you don't have it. Like going into like you don't go into a Chinese shop and they don't have spring rolls. You don't go into um like an Indian and they don't have chapatis or one of them ones. You don't have patties. You need to get them things correct first, and just we need to stop working in silos. People, we just need to band together, and then yeah, if they were competitive with price, because with me, you get me, it's all about the price. The price is good, the customer service, price is there. You get me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I hear that.
So
I hear
them
that.
things are the things you look for first, and I think as you said, it's a free market kind of thing. But I kind of get where she's coming from in certain aspects. But again, I think boycott's a bit harsh, kind of like terms kind of thing. We're not doing them things ourselves. So why would I go drive all the way down the road, like 2 miles down the road, to go to a shop that's gonna be more expensive, and they might not even have what I have, what I need anyway, kind of thing. So if we get ourselves correct, as we all mentioned here, then yeah, I will, like, if it's an option, if it's on the same competitive price, then yeah, I would like to be able to shop black first. But get me, we've got to look up for ourselves, kind of thing, first, and we need to just get the community piece correct, the spirituality piece right, like stop all the hostility between us, and then yeah, we can rise as a nation, man. But boycotting, nah, not.
Thank you, Trav. I think for me, my final thoughts is this: like, I think we've got. I'm not boycotting no Salvation business, because I think we've got bigger problems.
Yeah,
We have a saying in Jamaica: learn to dance at home before you dance a foreign. And it goes back to what you're saying, Trav. We need to get our foundations and our stuff in order first. And for
yeah.
me, what that looks like is that spiritual connection.
Mm-hmm.
Until we are spiritually connected, we're going to continue to have these problems. We need to start loving loving each other again. We need to be not so distrustful of one another. And I think if we can conquer those sort of things, then you'll see the black community prosper and rise the way that it needs to. But getting involved in other people's business, which we
Yeah,
always seem to blasted do,
yeah,
is always being to our detriment. But ladies and gents, thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Like I said, we were on a hiatus, but we're back, and trust
yeah.
me, you're gonna like the next one that we've got coming in a couple.
11th of December, Thursday. Make sure it's
Uh,
gonna be
okay,
it's gonna be hot. It's gonna be
okay,
live. Oh, make sure you're there.
okay. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Where can the people them catch us, people?
Instagram,
YouTube,
X,
YouTube,
X.
TikTok, Facebook, and
Oh,
Spotify.
okay.
Spotify, YouTube, obviously, and so there's another one. P.
Well, we got the podcast, so on all podcast streams, so we can listen in your ears.
Like and subscribe.
Yes, every time. And as we said in it, look after yourselves and one another. Be safe, and remember to be kind. Peace.